be slaves and obey their master. I feel like any human being should never be degraded down to property. Every human being should be treated equally and so forth. And that was just one thing that I just can't fathom. Like, I'm a Christian and I'm a believer, and I read that and it's like, whoa, slaves obey your master. So it's kind of like rattling my mind. Could you explain that to me?
When this confused student asked one of the hardest questions in the Bible, Cliff didn't hesitate and exposed the truth no one expected.
You're awesome. Okay, you're hitting right on. Okay, I'm at Cornell University up in Ithaca, New York, and these Cornell students are sharp, and they are blasting me with the exact point. Yeah, sure, Cliff. You believe in Jesus, and you believe in the Bible, and right there, Paul says, slaves, obey your master. And I mean, they are making me squirm.
I'm squirming too.
All of a sudden, an African-American sister steps out of the crowd. And this African-American woman looks these guys in the face and says, first point is, slavery in the Roman Empire was totally different from slavery in America. Slavery in America was based on race. Slavery in the Roman Empire was basically you're an indentured servant. Doctors were slaves, lawyers were slaves, business people were slaves. I became a slave if I owed you money and couldn't pay back my debt. I became your slave. Slaves could work out of their slavery by earning money and paying the person back, and then they were no longer a slave. Yeah, but wait a second. Not all slavery was like that in the Roman Empire. You're right. Conquered people were at times enslaved, and that was tragic. But over 50% of the Roman Empire at that time was comprised of slaves. What is Paul doing in Colossians when he says, slaves, obey your masters? He is saying, not Spartacus. We're not going that route, guys. We are not going to armed revolt against Rome and free ourselves.
Okay.
But what does he write instead? Galatians 3:28. In Christ there is no longer Jew nor Gentile, slave nor free, but we are all one in Christ. Then what is the little letter of Philemon all about? The letter of Philemon that Paul writes is to a slave owner named Philemon who has a runaway slave named Onesimus. Onesimus has met the Apostle Paul. Paul led him to faith, and lo and behold, Paul knew Philemon, the slave owner. So Paul writes Philemon saying, Philemon, accept Onesimus back, no longer as a slave, but as a brother in Christ. In other words, Paul is laying the foundation for the abolition of slavery, but he's doing it the same way Wilberforce did it in the English Parliament to abolish the slave trade, which is, we're going to work in the system here, we're not going to have an armed revolt. So yes, sir, if you're a slave and you've put your faith in Christ, don't rebel against your master. Instead, by your integrity, with your compassion in your lifestyle, point your master to Jesus Christ. What Paul is doing is that he's saying, okay, and you're a master? Well, just remember, that's not a slave, man. That's a brother in Christ. So let's forget this bit about